Welcome to Laughter and Enlightenment with Sharon Gambrill here at Radio Northern Beaches 88.7 or 90.3 FM, or you can live stream through the website at rnb.org.au or through the app TuneIn Radio. Welcome to the show this week. You're in for an absolutely wonderful hour. I'm going to be interviewing a really fabulous, exciting and wonderful man. His name is Merv Neal. He is the CEO of Laughter Yoga Australia. He is one of only 2 laughter yoga master trainers in Australia, the author of The Business of Laughter, and he is the facilitator of 3 research studies, which are medical studies about the health benefits of laughter, with another study on the way next year. Welcome to the show, Merv Neal.
Thank you, Shaz. Is the canned laughter?
I'm very excited to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Merv is an extremely busy man. He is in demand all over the world, not just in Australia, and has his own very interesting laughter story. So welcome, Merv. I'm very glad to have you here.
Thanks, Shaz. We've known each other for a little while.
Yes, we have.
And good to see you again. And you've overstated me terribly, but
no.
Obviously you've got all the information off my website, which is where it all is.
Yes. I do my research. I'm an award-winning journalist as well. I'm not just a mouthpiece, Merv.
I'm supposed to be all about me. Why has it turned around to be all about
that's
you?
That's right. That's the trick, isn't it?
Lovely to be here, and thanks for the opportunity. And I've got a story. If you go onto YouTube, it's actually there. It's called The Laughing Man. It's a 11.5-minute documentary of how I got into the laughter, and essentially how that happened was I got sick back in 2002. I was very, very ill, rushed to hospital as a result of too much stress, too much work, too much alcohol, and that's what you do in your own business. You get caught up in the manifestation of everything that's happening and the greed and the power, and I was very good at all of it. And we'd just gone through quite a significant time in the world called the Y2K phenomenon.
Yes.
Anyone over the age of 18 will understand what that was all about. And it was when the world was going to finish as a result of IT systems failing, which they never were.
They never were
no,
they?
They weren't, but don't tell the IT people that, which was my business at the time. And we fueled that hype and that speculation that the world was going to finish unless you bought lots of equipment off me at highly inflated prices. And that was the business as it was then. Now, we did nothing wrong, but it was just one of those golden times in business where you go, really, is this happening to me right here, right now? So I've been operating my own businesses since the age of 12.
Goodness me, Merv, at 12. You started early.
I did start early. It's all in the documentary.
Oh, that's nice. What, were you a paper boy?
No, not quite, actually. I had the ability to start parking cars on my front lawn. We lived beside a greyhound racing track down in Melbourne, and greyhound racing became very, very popular virtually overnight, and all of a sudden the car park next door was sending people away and saying, we have no room in our car park, go away.
Yeah.
So these people were very angry and they would go away, and this was back in a time where you just parked your car anywhere because no one went out of a night time, so just park it across their drive and everything will be okay. Unfortunately, my dad used to work nights, so he either couldn't get out or he couldn't get back in because people would just park their car across our driveway. So my dad come to me and he said, I will give you 2 bob. Gives you a little indication as to how long ago
How long ago was that? Last century?
Do you mind?
Last millennium?
Do you mind? I'm already feeling old without you impressing
you look like a spring chicken, Merv.
Oh, thanks very much. Thank God it's radio.
Yes.
And anyway, Dad would get very angry, and he said to me, I want you to stand out here all night and make sure that no one parks across the driveway. I will give you 2 bob for doing that. So I'm going, cool. So I got 2 bob off my dad for telling people to go away, until one night a man said, well, I'll give you 2 bob if you let me park on your front lawn. I'm going, okay, that sounds okay to me, as long as you're not parking across my driveway. So Dad got home after working very, very late. He was an insurance salesman, so he would do his best work out after hours.
Of course, yeah.
When the mums and dads were at home together to make the decisions on life insurance back at those times. And he said, why is that car there? And I said, well, a man actually gave me 2 bob to park it there. And he goes, oh. And I said, and I got 2 bob off you to keep him off the driveway. I said, what's happening? He said, you've got yourself a business parking cars. I said, really? I said, how does that work? He said, you'll work it out. So what I found was that I could get money from Dad for not getting cars to park there, and I get money from other people to park their cars there. And so I'm going, apparently this is a business. So I started parking cars on our front lawn. But what would happen was the cars would drive by, and I thought, how can I stop the cars driving by? Why aren't they just coming into my car park? So I found that by jumping out in front of cars was a good approach as a 12-year-old. Yeah. Just jump in front of the car and tell them to stop. They will stop, yes. Well, that was the idea. Yeah. And I would just say, do you want a car park? But I got very astute, very clever, very quickly, I think, at identifying at who was a punter, who wasn't a punter, who would let go by, who would stop, who would pay, who really wanted a car park. And I got very good at identifying different traits in different people and different cars and where I could park the cars on the lawn.
You must have had a large lawn, Merv.
Oh, it was a double allotment.
Yes.
Old farmhouse.
Oh, nice.
So it was a big area in front of our house, in front of the old farmhouse, because we actually had a chook farm at the back of it, which Dad sold off, and that's where he made a lot of his wealth. So I found out that I could do different things to get more cars there, and how to form an alliance with the car park attendant next door and just tell him to refer them on to me. So I learned about referrals. I learned about, if you want business, go and jump in front of your people and say, here I am, come and use me, and that sort of thing. And we ended up getting about 32 cars per night.
That is a really large area, isn't it? My goodness.
It is a large area, Shazza, except I had the tape measure out, and I used to measure different parts of the lawn in between the trees and around the water taps and the swings. And then I'd go out and do my research during the week and find out how big a Pontiac is and how big a Volkswagen Beetle is and how big an FJ Holden is, and then go back and adapt it to the lawn. So every piece of lawn was specifically designed for a particular type of car that would be able to park.
You really analysed it. And you also used the exercise of psychology to know your target market and all of that.
That's it.
At a young age, Merv.
Well, what was amazing, Shazza, I think at the age of 12, you don't complicate a whole lot of stuff. No. You go, well, this is really simple. I need the right car to go in the right place on the allotment, and I need the right person with the right money. So it just all seemed to make sense to me. Yeah. And it worked amazingly well, and word got out, and I was interviewed by someone, obviously not as famous as you are.
No.
But they were from the local paper, and they came and did a column on me and interviewed me. And they said, how did this start and all that sort of thing. And they ended up writing a column, which I subsequently cut out of the paper. And it just said, here's a young man who should go far, probably finish up being a business tycoon. So I went back to Dad and I said, Dad, what's a tycoon? And he said, a tycoon is a millionaire. And I said, well, apparently I'm going to be a millionaire. Yeah. And he said, well, yeah, according to the paper. And we believed everything in the paper. There was no fake news back then.
No.
And I said to Dad, well, apparently I'm going to be a millionaire. And there was a saying back then that said life begins at 40. So I mapped out from the age of 12 to the age of 40, how many years, how many weeks, and how much money I had to make in that time to be a millionaire by the age of 40. Yeah. So I, at that time, became obsessed with this thing called money.
Yes, yeah.
And my businesses, every business that I had was driven by this obsession of getting to that point of time in my life. Now, it's not a bad trait to have, but an obsession is a passion out of control. Yes. So I had this obsession of money, and nothing would get in my way to stop me getting there. One of the interesting things is once I got to 40, I'd made my goal, and then I thought, well, at 45, I'm going to double it, because that's what people with obsessions do. They get out of control in regards to what it is they're trying to achieve. And then along came this thing called the Y2K. I'm going, oh my goodness, here is my chance to double everything I've done in, let's do the math, 28 years. I can do this in 5 because of this one opportunity. So everything that I did in my being was focused on doing that. It worked because of the opportunity and the amount of drive that I had towards this second goal. The interesting thing, Shazza, that I found out though, is if your obsession is money, you're never ever going to be fulfilled, because you'll never have enough.
Never have enough.
Never have enough money. Whereas if your obsession is something else, you'll always be fulfilled because it will be fulfilling for you. So money was a very hollow obsession.
Merv, did you study something after school? Like, did you go to business college or anything like that?
I was the smartest kid in school until Mum and Dad divorced when I was 14. So this whole business tycoon stuff lasted 2 years and then it fell flat because apparently Dad wasn't just selling insurance of a night time. He was doing some other things.
Yes.
You know, we'll just leave it up to the imagination of the listeners as to what he might have been doing. And he was found out. So Mum said, we're out of here. And she packed us up in the car and we left with nothing but the clothes on our back and no business. I'd lost
you'd lost your first business.
I'd lost my first business. I'm going, damn, I thought business was forever.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a downer in my business career. So what happened then? I turned from the smartest kid and one of the smartest business people on the block to one of the dumbest kids. I went really wayward. I lost any form of direction without my father and subsequently ended up failing school quite well. I did a good job at failing school.
Well, that's something, isn't it?
Yes, I did really, really well. But I still had this obsession and this passion for business and money. So at the new house that we went to, we had to rent a house. Mum said, well, you'll have to mow the lawn because, you know, Dad used to mow the lawn. Now you'll have to mow the lawn. So I went and borrowed a little Victor motor mower, once again showing my age, and I mowed the lawns, and someone saw this little blonde-headed 14-year-old mowing the lawns and said, would you like to come and mow my lawns? That would be good. I'm going, hang on, I think I've got myself another business here.
Yes, and very useful.
Yeah, so Jim's mowing, get out of the way. I was the first Jim's mowing.
Merv's
mowing. And I was up and down the street putting leaflets in the boxes, you know, just saying if you want your lawns mowed, this is how much it'll be. And then I started to measure out the size of the lawns. I got that tape measure out again that I used for the cars and started to measure out the lawns. And I used to charge by the metre, the square metre, not by the job, but by the square metre.
Well, that's very business-like, isn't it?
Very business-like because I had that business blood in me.
Yeah.
Failed school, joined the military, because I determined that I needed to be sorted out by someone.
Yeah. And
the military said, yes, we can do that, and they did.
Yes.
One of the things that happened in the military, you had to have really short hair, and there was always a line at the barbers, that said you would just have to sit there and wait because there was only one barber on the base and thousands of guys needing regular haircuts. And I'm going, how hard could that be? So I went off and got myself a pair of clippers and set up Merv's barber shop in the barracks.
Oh, gosh.
And I worked out that I didn't have to do a real good job because, a military haircut...
Well, it's very short, isn't it?
It is very short. Yeah. You've noticed my latest hairdo, Shaz, is in fact bald. It's extreme.
It's no fuss.
It's no fuss. So all of a sudden I had my own barber shop. And, of course, it's all cash in hand. And I would promote this throughout the base. And all I had to do was guarantee less waiting times. So I didn't even have to undercut him. I just said less waiting times. Yeah. And if that meant cutting their hair faster, well, I just cut their hair faster to make sure there was less waiting times. But
entrepreneurial, Merv.
Oh, very entrepreneurial.
You see a need for something and you go and do it.
Well, you just go and fill it. And, I think a little company called Uber did it recently. They found a hole in the market and went for it. And then I think another little business started up called Airbnb and all these people.
Someone has good ideas, but they take action, don't they, Merv?
Well, that's it, Shaz. Yeah. It's great to have, and we all have great ideas, but the successful people in the world per se are the ones who then take action to it. And a lot of people are afraid of taking action, afraid of failing and risk.
Some people are afraid of success.
Oh, absolutely.
There's all sorts of psychological drawbacks and what holds us
back.
What
if I succeed and I become famous at
this?
Right. What happens then? Well, let's do it.
Or those little voices in your head from growing up where they say, you can't do that, or why would you do that?
And the interesting thing is, Shazza, with any business that I had, I never ever had any self-doubt. And I think that was just because I started so young. At 12, you never have any self-doubts about anything. No. I think as we age and become more learned and experienced, we start to doubt a whole lot of things. But the message for the folks is never doubt yourself. Always have absolute doubt in your own ability to do whatever it is you want to do, but then go and find wherever that niche is, but then work really hard at it. So I've never still shied away from hard work. I just balance it better than I did.
Always have a go.
Always have a go.
Don't talk yourself out of it.
No, absolutely not. So I just kept on seeing these business opportunities. Unfortunately, the one in IT, which I've been running at for about 11 years, had this second coming. And the second coming was this Y2K thing. And I worked way too hard for way too long.
Yes.
And then I had the ability to sell the business because it had done as good as it was ever going to do. There was no forward planning for this business because it had just done all the business in the last 3 years. Peaked, and I'm going, looking forward, this business is going nowhere, so I've got to sell it. Now, inadvertently, I was hoping that I'd sell it really quickly because I was really sick and really, really tired. I just hadn't really understood how sick and how tired. So I sold it to a person for, once again, a lot of money, and I'm going, wow, I'm fulfilled. I've got even more money now than I had before. And it was a stressful sale. It all went wrong because the people realised that the business was over, but they'd bought a business that was over. All IT went into a slump at that time because
very rapidly.
Very rapidly. And they realised that they'd maybe bought a bad business that was going nowhere, but
they were locked in, right?
That's their problem, not mine.
Yes.
If they don't understand business, that's not my fault nor my problem. But it ended up in the Supreme Court. So it ended up stress upon stress upon stress. So by the time the judge actually said, yes, the money's yours, and I saw the zeros go into the bank, I just collapsed and bled out. And that was it. That was the start of the beginning.
That was the beginning of your health.
They picked me up in an ambulance and they rushed me to hospital, and they're going, don't know what this guy's doing, but he is in serious trouble. And I was in serious trouble. All of my internal systems had stopped functioning. They were running on adrenaline and alcohol, and all of a sudden take away the adrenaline. And it all just collapsed. Yeah. So at hearing that news, that I was effectively going to die of a multitude of internal diseases, I started to laugh. And keep with us, folks. Don't turn off yet.
No.
And the doctor said, why are you laughing? And I said, well, this is funny. And they said, what? And I said, well, I've worked so hard since the age of 12 to be where I am today. And you're saying now I'm going to die?
Yeah.
And they go, yeah. I said, come on, that's funny. Now, what that was actually a thing called pathological laughter. And I didn't realise until many, many years later that there even was such a thing. So I'd gone crazy. My brain couldn't handle this massive amount of bad news on top of all of this success. So I started to hysterically laugh.
Okay.
So they thought I'd gone insane on top of all the other problems.
Yes, why not?
Why not? And they said, look, why don't you get out of hospital? And they were saying, go away, go home, effectively. Yeah. So I went home, and being a businessman, I organised my funeral, finances, family and friends. That took about 48 hours. I was still in business mode, and I organised all 4 of those things. And apparently you're going to ask me about my funeral and my music shortly, which is...
Yes, that'd be nice.
Which is cool.
We'll put that on, shall we? Some of your funeral music.
And then I sat down and I just started to laugh and laugh and laugh, and I couldn't stop laughing. And my family's saying, why are you laughing? I'm going, this is funny. And they're going, but it's not. I'm going, but it is. It's funny. And sometimes we've just got to laugh at the absurdity of life. Anyway, I kept on going back to the hospital and saying, surprise, I'm still here. What do we do now? And it wasn't until an Indian doctor, which is significant because now Dr. Kataria is in my life with Laughter Yoga as an Indian doctor. And this Indian doctor told me about how powerful laughter is in helping to cure a multitude of diseases, and maybe it's trying to cure yours.
Yes.
I'm going, wow, we're onto something. So I become friends with the head of oncology. Not a great friend to have, but he was good enough at the time because he partnered with me, and he just said, every Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock, come to my surgery and we will laugh together until you get healthy. I'm going, wow, that's really cool. Now, inadvertently, what this guy had done, bless him, had given me hope.
Yes.
And I think hope is one of the greatest gifts you can give to anybody, is the hope of anything, especially when it comes to a medical point of view, which has driven me to do the research studies and all of the work that I do with laughter as therapy, because what if I could give someone hope with their illness, maybe just a little bit of hope. I think that's the best medical gift you can give anyone who is
having a reason to get out of bed and go in and do something with that doctor every week. You had something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
And to aim for.
I had a weekly goal of being there at 10 o'clock every Tuesday morning, and everything that I did was working towards that. Yeah. And I said to him, what should I do? He said, don't stop laughing, keep laughing. He said, keep walking your dog, keep exercising. Yes. And I was eating oysters. I didn't even like oysters. I was eating them by
Were you craving them, Merv?
Oh, craving for oysters.
Now, what was in oysters? Is it selenium, magnesium? What are those things?
I don't know.
Iodine?
Once again, I found out much later on that it's really, really good for your blood.
Okay.
I didn't know that. Everybody thinks it's really good for some other
things.
Aphrodisiac
which
stuff,
we won't mention.
Which we won't mention on this show because it's a family program.
Exactly.
But I was reading it somewhere. I'm going, oh my goodness, oysters are good for this. And I was craving oysters. Yeah. So every day I learn that our bodies have an innate intelligence to crave for things that they need, even when maybe you can't rationalise what's going on. So he just kept on saying, keep laughing, keep exercising, keep eating oysters. So I did, and I did, and I did, and I did, and I did.
And dogs are a wonderful companion, aren't they?
He was my best friend.
Yes.
Because I found out then that I had drinking buddies and no best friends. So when I was in my direst, if that's a word, in my most dire situation in life, dying, I had no one to turn to at all except my dog.
Yeah.
So, it was a sad day when we put him down, but we had lots of good years together.
Yeah, I know.
So that's my story. That's what brought me to the laughter.
It's fascinating, Merv.
I like it. It's really good. And what's happened now, Shazza, is I'm on this mission and passion, not an obsession, about finding out as much as I can about this laughter stuff and how it can impact positively on people in a therapeutic way.
That's right, on a physiological level and the psychological, but also on your chemicals in your brain, on your cellular...
The things that we're finding out
levels
all the time. And all of the different doctors in all of the different hospitals in the world may know about cellular whatever, and another one will know about this, another one will know about this, but to understand all of those things and bring it together and then find out the impact that laughter has on all of those things
put together
is profound, and it keeps me very busy and very excited.
It's a fascinating study, and there's no poor side effects.
Oh, there is one. There is one. From laughing too much, you will develop a sense of humour. And that can have you seeming a little bit weird to people, which is what they must seem with me. Yeah. But having a sense of humour is a really good sense to have, especially in this world today where there's not a lot to laugh at.
No. There's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of things in the news that can make you go downhill very quickly.
If you let them.
If you let them, and
that's the point.
Absorb it.
And if you absorb it, and it's all very, very unhealthy to let it into your being and then to absorb it into your being. And this is why I am in such demand now, because there's just so many sick people out there. And the major sickness is a thing called depression, anxiety, cancer. The new kid on the block is autoimmune disease.
Yes.
Really new one. All of a sudden they're going, what's going on there? Our immune system's starting to attack itself, you know.
Yes.
So there's all these illnesses and sicknesses with people absorbing a whole lot of toxic stuff.
And finding ways and having tools to let go of those things, even just a little bit, every day is vitally important. Yeah,
so laughter has provided the shift in people. So whatever it is they've got, it just provides a shift. And it tends to provide a shift in a positive direction. Now, I never said it cures anything.
No.
But it helps people to heal.
That's right.
From whatever it is they've got.
And allows your own immune system to come along and optimise.
We've always said that laughter boosts the immune system by the way the diaphragm moves the lymph around the body. We've always said that it boosts our immune system. I've had some amazing results with suppressing autoimmune diseases. So laughter seems to be able to balance it out. So if you want more immunity, it can increase your immunity. Now I'm finding out if your immune system's going crazy, it can actually suppress it to a point where it starts to be regulated and start to function as it should. Now this is early stages, and they're only stories, but we're getting some real results with autoimmune diseases when a lot of the doctors go, we can name them, we don't really know what caused them, we don't really know what to do about it.
Well, that's wonderful. I think we'll celebrate that with a wonderful song, Merv.
We will.
Can you suggest a wonderful song?
No, we're not going to sing it, are we?
No, well, we can if they like. People want to hear it.
You'll have people turning off in their droves.
Can you think of a wonderful happy song or a song from your...
a song from my youth and still lives with me to this day and was going to be with me at my funeral. So I am one of the biggest David Bowie fans in the world. I grew up trying to mimic David Bowie as a 17-year-old. I had their hair.
So many people did.
Well, we all did.
Even Ricky Gervais. You know Ricky Gervais?
Yeah, of course.
Comedian? Now, he even put out a single when he was a very young lad, and he looked just like David Bowie.
Yeah, we all wanted to be just like David Bowie.
He was interviewed on the Alec Baldwin show, and they showed a clip of... You wouldn't even know it was Ricky Gervais, but he looked just like David Bowie as a young lad. Yeah. So I can imagine you doing that at the parties and in your bedroom. And
absolutely, had all of his...
And what's one of those favourite David Bowie songs of yours?
There was three of them. Yeah. The first one was Gene Genie. Now, Gene Genie starts and it just builds into this crescendo. And I wanted to have my coffin brought into the church to Gene Genie.
Oh, that's making an impact, isn't it?
It's making it. Oh, here comes Dead Merv, you know. Da, 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 da. Then building up to this crescendo. And da, da, da. I'm going, that's the entrance, you know, Gene Genie.
It's a big send-off.
Yeah, halfway through the service was going to be Rebel Rebel.
Oh, yes.
Because that's what I was at 17. I'd gone off the tracks. I was a rebel and I wanted everybody to know, rebel. But then they had to carry me out to Heroes. We could be heroes just for one day. If that doesn't get everybody crying in the church. Oh,
you want a bit of a cry, don't you? You can't be all happy.
You can't be all happy.
Well, I think we'll play all of those songs for Merv and for our listeners to celebrate your good health and all the excellent work you're doing.
Thank you.
So this is Gene Genie by David Bowie. You're listening to Laughter and Enlightenment with Sharon Gambrill here at Radio Northern Beaches, and we've just had our trio of wonderful David Bowie songs, and my special guest this week is Merv Neal. And Merv, now I just wanted to ask you about what do you do now for your health? I mean, diet, exercise, as well as, of course, the laughter work.
Yeah, no, look, Shaz, it's all of the above.
Yes.
So, you know, laughter is my passion and it has such a profound impact on my well-being now. So it's not about curing any disease I've got. It's all about enhancing my well-being. And that well-being is at an emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, social, self and sexual level. So they're the 7 energy centres, they're the 7 chakras in our body, and laughter has a positive impact on each and every one of those. So I use laughter from a holistic point of view to help those areas. Exercise, got to walk 3 times a day. And I'm talking about brisk exercise. Apparently it's really good for dementia and Alzheimer's, which is important at my age to make sure that, you know, we manage those things. So brisk walks. I eat as well as I possibly can, considering that I travel a bit. But, you know, I keep an eye on what I eat and I try to eat as healthily as possible, once again, without being obsessed with any diets or fads or anything like that.
Being relaxed about it, but alert about what you put in.
Yeah, and consciously aware that the food that you're taking in and what it's doing.
What about the oyster levels? Merv, did you still eat a lot of oysters, or is that
No, that was a time in my life.
That was a time.
And it did. Yeah. I think if you were to put a dozen oysters in front of me, I think I'd still salivate and have a really good time with them. But no, they're not necessary for me.
I went through a stage with my health issue in 2011 and I ate a lot of organic beetroot. I didn't even know why, but I loved it. I'd eat it like an apple, and then I realised that it was doing me some good on some level.
But that's the point. And if you were to go back and analyse a beetroot, the colour, the texture, the minerals in it, it would be serving you at that time.
Yes.
Now, it was innate intelligence. What the foodies and the nutritionists have the ability to do is to actually identify the foods that are good for you. So it's like food therapy.
Yes.
You know, so that's just what
I know. There's different types of diets and there's different kinds of nutritional supplements and there's different kinds of things, and they've done a lot of interesting studies on senior citizens who live to, you know, octogenarians into their hundreds.
Sure.
And where they live and what their lifestyle is like.
Yeah, and that was over in the States was one of them. Japan was the other, and Italy was the other. I've read those studies.
You know those studies.
Yeah, and that was as much about environment as well too. So there's
all factors, aren't there?
Yeah, there is all factors. So look, I like to walk regularly. Oh, swimming! I love swimming.
Yeah.
Wherever there's a pool, I'll go swimming. Laugh often.
Yes.
Lots. It's part of my work, so I get to laugh regularly. That's about it.
Yeah.
And just just de-stress, relax.
Yes.
Now, I never said meditate. I just said relax. Just
Yes.
take time out just to calm down.
Yes.
Just
calm down.
calm down now, for goodness sake. Everybody calm down.
Do you do a kind of a technique of deep breathing for relaxation, Merv?
The laughter is a form of deep breathing,
Yes.
relaxation anyway. Now, I appreciate meditation and all those sorts of things, and I've investigated them all. If I'm having trouble sleeping, if I'm away from home in a different bed or something like that, I have the ability, because the walls have ears, just to do some nice meditative breathing. So I know how to do it.
Yes.
But the best meditative breathing that I've ever done is laughter. It's a form of
Yes.
meditation,
Yes.
deep breathing, and it's just so...
Deep abdominal breathing,
is, and it's
everyone.
just so
Not the
joyful.
shallow chest
No.
breathing doesn't do as much for
it's
you.
just so much fun
Yeah,
to do, So that's my type of meditative breathing, is deep.
And then we get all that surge of oxygen throughout our brain and into our cells, which is very healthy.
Sure. Well, the only way you're going to get oxygen in is to get exhalation out. So laughter
Yes.
is an extreme form of exhalation.
Yes.
Nothing I've found in the world to date is as extreme a form of exhalation as laughter.
That's right, Merv. So do you recommend people watch comedy shows and things as well to get that lightness and a little bit of an encouragement to laugh more? I know there's laughter yoga is consciously laughing, and then there's incidental laughing, isn't there, that you can have a stimulus for?
Yeah, there's comedy and jokes, and I love a good comedian as much as anybody. I think they're really, really good at their skill, and their job is to make me laugh.
Yes.
So I pay good money, and
Yes.
I say to them, you make me laugh and make me laugh now. But I'm also giving myself permission to laugh. So people love a good comedian because they're going there wanting to laugh and wanting to laugh with a group of people.
Yes.
A comedian gives us permission to laugh.
Do you think we grow mirror neurons in a comedy club, Merv? Or is that more sustainable in a laughter club?
The best comedians are the funny-looking ones as well too. So you got Bill Bailey, Ricky Gervais with his persona.
Yes.
All of those great comedians. Billy Connolly. You
Yes.
just have to look at him and you laugh.
Yes,
He's a
that's right.
funny-looking guy,
Yeah.
So the mirror neurons definitely play a part in it. But then when you hear their laughter, you'll find that these really good comedians have an awesome laugh that you love listening to as well. And that is the contagiousness.
There's a joy about it, isn't
There's
there?
a joy about it that they're sharing with you. Then if they can crack a joke, that's a bonus as well too. So the comedians share much of themselves with us as the audience who are paying good money to be entertained by them. At the same time, a lot of comedians have another side where they get quite depressive because they're trying to make other people laugh but don't have that fulfillment of the laughter themselves. Now, this is where the laughter yoga comes in, where we just embody the laughter into ourselves. So we can do it all by ourselves just by getting the laughter exercises into our body. Now, if you can do it at a laughter club, that's a bonus. There's laughter clubs where you can go to free of charge around Australia. I run the...
So how do we find out about that, Merv?
Laughter Yoga Australia.
Look up Laughter Yoga Australia.
The website, and just go on to find laughter clubs, and we've got a list of the clubs in the different states there. Yeah. And if you can't find one, drop me an email and I'll put you in touch with some of the local people there. But to go along to a laughter club and have a laughter session where there is no comedy or jokes, we just do a series of laughter exercises into our body that then gets the conscious brain and all of the problems that it has out of the way, and just to start to authentically laugh for no reason is a really powerful form of release.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
relief.
And you do learn to let go of that sort of self-conscious feeling quite early on.
You have to, because it's really quite weird. If you go to a laughter club, be aware it's very, very weird. But very, very quickly, if you have a skilled facilitator, they take you through a series of laughter exercises where you just gradually, and then all of a sudden you start to let go and you just start to feel wonderful.
It is a wonderful feeling when you know you have this technique that you can use.
Yes.
It makes you look at the world quite differently, doesn't it?
Well, it does, with a sense of humour. Yes. So that's what the difference between a laughter club and a comedian is. One is appealing to your conscious brain and the other is appealing to your embodiment of the laughter.
And Merv, how can a business get in touch with you regarding having you to facilitate laughter workshops or stress relief workshops and all that sort of thing?
A blatant plug for my business. Thank you, Sharon. This wasn't discussed, but thank you very much for doing it.
Why not? I pay my guests well.
You mean
publicity.
I'm not getting paid? Oh, I'm not getting paid. Now I find out that there's no money in this.
Comments.
Oh.
I'm not John Wallace. Power balloon. Power balloon.
Oh, stop it.
No. But I mean, businesses now are, I'd go into businesses too, mainly in Sydney. I even went to one lovely convent where I stayed overnight, west of Canberra, and I did a wonderful laughter session with people who are carers for a family member with mental health issues, and they had a carers retreat. Yes. And you just find there are so many ways that can be utilised in a business or a community group to have a lovely laughter session. Yeah, teach this to people. Yeah, from a business perspective, there is the businesses. Now, they're under stress like never before. Yeah. The people are literally dying from working so hard at the moment, and the stress that's happening, mainly manifesting itself in mental illness, depression, anxiety, and they're just burning out. So we go into businesses. Hospitals are a business. Yes. The one that I'm working with in Melbourne at the moment has 17,000 people under extreme pressure, extreme pressure and extreme stress. Schools are a business. Yes. The teachers, I have 4 of my children and their subsequent partners out of 6 are all school teachers, and they'll talk about the stresses of having to deal with parents and expectations at schools. I thought schools were a really happy, fun place. No. But so all of the businesses that you come across, extreme stress that they're dealing with. The carers that you mentioned, 1 in 8 people in Australia is a carer, full-time carer for someone else. And all of a sudden, in a heartbeat, and I don't mean that to be a nasty pun, but in a heartbeat, you can become a carer, or you can have someone who needs to be your carer in a heartbeat. And those people's lives have just changed in an instant from what they were to something which can be really quite distressing. So carers is a big market for us as well. Recently I did a gig, and I'll mention this specifically because there's always another interesting gig around the corner. I was approached by a person who said, we have these ladies who are coming together for a retreat, and it was a wellness retreat to nurture themselves, and they were experiencing PTSD as a result of their husbands coming back from war with PTSD. Right. So this was transferred PTSD from the soldiers to their families. I'm going, oh my goodness, is that even a thing? And it was. Yeah. And so these people, quite inadvertently by their partners going away to war to protect us, all of a sudden need protection, from their partners. So that was a tough gig, but boy, we pulled out all stops. But be able to give them tools to be able to manage that stress was really quite profound, and we did. So with that, Merv, do you also include not just the laughter exercises, but a relaxation or sort of stress relief techniques that are not just laughing? Yeah. Is that included in something you would do for something like that? Yeah, I'm quite unique in the business world because I stick to laughter. I stick to my knitting. I don't incorporate anything else except laughter. Now, at the end, we have a little meditation, a calming meditation, a body scan meditation to ground the people, but everything that I do is laughter. I know a lot of people use other techniques. Mine is specifically laughter, and that just makes me different to everybody else in the world that's doing all these other sorts of techniques. Yeah. There's loads out there. So everyone learn to laugh. Yeah. Bring out your inner joy, and also learn to relax. Exactly. Calm down. And it'll help you to sleep. Oh my goodness, the melatonin kicks in. You'll have the best night's sleep after a good belly laugh. There's no doubt about it. But I'll actually train, Shaz, a lot of people who are doing a modality who want to add a bit of laughter into their modality. So their mainstream thing might be meditation or mindfulness or yoga or something like that, and they'll add a bit of laughter to it. So that's a lot of my training nowadays, is actually training those people in that. But I'm strictly the laughter guy, and that's all that I do. Yeah. And you're doing it in a healthy way for yourself as well. Oh, absolutely. You always take time for yourself, don't you? Yeah, sure. You don't push yourself to the brink. You've learned not to do that. Not going back there. No. So that's very important too, to take some time for yourself. Yep, sure. And some quiet time as well. Yeah. And always, do you still get health checks, Merv? Just out of interest, what you had? Do you need to do that? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, now I understand what you're saying. Yes. For yourself? Like the doctor, when he signed off after 7 months of extreme illness, he signed off and he said, you don't ever have to come back to me again.
He said, but look after yourself. So I have a daily health check. It's when I wake up.
Yes.
And it's Dr. Merv. No, I do a health check on myself, and I go emotionally, how am I doing?
Yes.
Am I feeling happy? Am I feeling sad? What is the emotions? Mentally, how's the old brain functioning this morning? Is it good? Physically, how am I going? Spiritually, am I connected? Socially, am I out there? Self, am I okay? So once again, these are the 7 energy centres. This is 5,000 years of traditional Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine. This isn't made up stuff. This has been around forever. So I just do a body scan, check in on myself, and make sure that I'm good.
Yes.
If for some reason I think that I'm not good and I think I need external help, I will go to a doctor and just say, I would like you to check this out. Yeah. But I think the best doctor you have is yourself. Yes. But you have to have a really good self-awareness of everything that's going on, and knowing that it could go out of balance. And if it does go out of balance, what are you going to consciously do to bring it back into balance? Yes. And I think that's the healing power that we have within us, getting back to that self-trust. And, I never ever doubt that I'm the best person to know how well I am or how well I ain't. I try not to go to our doctors, our conventional doctors, because they have a specific way of working that just doesn't resonate with myself. Yeah. Now, I didn't say anything against doctors then. They have their place in the medical world, but their knowledge is to medicate or surgery or psychoanalyse or something like that, and that's what they do, and they do it to the best of their ability. But holistic health is more about the whole person and treating the whole person. And just understanding how we work, And
become very self-aware is important, isn't it?
That's it, yes, self-awareness.
Know how you are and why you are.
Exactly. And if I wake up the next morning, I'm not feeling so well, I'll reflect back on what I did the day before. What did I do the day before?
What were you up to?
Oh, maybe I had a drink, Shazza, or maybe I didn't exercise, or maybe I got a bit serious or something like that. Yeah. So, they're my health checks, daily health checks by Dr. Merv.
That's great, Merv. And I was going to say, do you keep in touch with that original doctor? Is he around still?
No. He is a thing of my past. Yeah. He is something that happened a long time ago that I don't ever want to go back to. No. I have the ability to move on. And
I'm sure he would be thrilled to see you and know what you're up to, though, to be honest.
Alive and well. Yeah. My focus is on the doctors that I haven't met yet, not the doctors that I have.
Your research doctors.
My research doctors and all of the other doctors.
Exciting projects.
That I need to keep in touch with. So they're my future. So, no, I have the ability to let go of the past and just say that was what it was yesterday. Yes. What I'm really interested in is what's going to happen today or tomorrow.
The right doctor came along for you just at the right time, I think.
But they do.
Yeah.
But they do, yes. And I truly believe with the work that I'm doing in the hospitals and with the research studies that the right doctors will continue to come along to help me with whatever it is that I have to do to bring laughter at a therapeutic level to people who are not well.
Yeah, and I think music is also a wonderful thing. Merv, we might just play one more. Do you have a favourite Australian band or singer? We might just finish our interview with Merv Neal with a wonderful Australian song.
I like going to op shops and just seeing what people throw out. It's interesting.
Oh, okay.
And I tell you what, I bought an Akadaka t-shirt.
Oh, you can't
recently.
You can't go
past Akadaka.
No.
And I tell you what, if
timeless.
Timeless.
No good if you have a headache, but most of the time it's
great. Their longevity is just absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
They seem to just go on forever.
They will go on forever, and even with a new lead singer, I would say.
Yeah, well, they've done that a couple of times.
Brian Johnson has to retire because of his hearing loss.
Exactly right. So Shaz, I'll leave it up to you. Anything
let's put an Akadaka
song on. Let's do a bit of headbanging here and
let's have a good time. AC/DC, an iconic Australian band, internationally successful. Like my guest Merv Neal is internationally successful. He travels around the world. He's in demand as a speaker, as a facilitator of laughter yoga, training laughter yoga leaders, training laughter yoga teachers, and all of his wonderful researchers. Now, Merv, where can we find your book, The Business of Laughter?
Yet to be published. It's finished, but yet to be published. So
watch this space.
It's finished. It's finished. I just need to find a publisher. Yes. At the moment, so any publishers out there, if you'd like to publish my book, it's ready to roll. It's all sitting as a manuscript on my desk. So watch this space.
Yes. And how can we find out more about you, Merv, and what you do?
Just mervneal.com. I've done the ego thing and put a website together all about me.
Why not?
Why not?
Look at that face.
It's a pretty good thing to do if you're a speaker. A lot of speakers do it because you are the product. So just mervneal.com.
Yes,
it's essentially
and also
got
Laughter Yoga Australia or laughteryoga.org.
Yeah, laughteryogaaustralia.org has got the Australian information that you need on it. But my own website, mervneal.com, has got my own stuff there.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Cool.
So if you'd like to book Merv for your business or your community or your hospital, or you'd like to just find out more, check out Merv Neal and Laughter Yoga Australia. And would like to say a very thank you, big thank you to Merv Neal, being so very busy.
My pleasure.
For taking the time to be on Laughter and Enlightenment this week.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much, Merv Neal.
Yay.
It's a fascinating story of health and healing and, or might I say it, almost redemption, to have his best life and to live a long, happy, healthy life and encourage and inspire others. So that's wonderful, Merv.
Thank you, Shazza.
Well, Laughter and Enlightenment will be back next Thursday here at Radio Northern Beaches, 6 to 7 p.m. And until next week, have a happy, healthy and laughing week.